The daughter, Rose Cotter, a therapist, is seen in the present day going about her day at work. Carl, one of her maniac patients, is handled by her. He murmurs incessantly about dying people and his own impending death. Carl ignores Rose's efforts to console him and continues his episode. Rose then gets a call setting up a meeting with a young woman named Laura Weaver, Caitlin Stacy. Laura is upset when Rose first meets her since she recently saw her professor stab himself to death. Laura says she has since witnessed an evil presence that assumes the form of others. Laura looks back after turning away from Rose and starts to worry out. Rose asks for assistance, but then turns back to begins panicking and freaking out. Rose calls for help, but she looks back to find that Laura has picked up a broken shard from a vase and is now flashing an unsettling grin. Laura slashes her throat before help arrives, leaving Rose in shock. For information on the incident, Rose chats to two investigators, one of whom is her ex-boyfriend Joel. She speaks to her employer, Dr. Morgan Desai, and describes what she witnessed. Later, Rose visits the house she shares with her fiancé Trevor, their cat Mustache, and themselves. When Holly reprimands Rose for forgetting Holly's son Jackson's impending birthday, Rose snaps at Holly because she is still traumatized from Laura's suicide. Rose and Trevor then have dinner with Holly and her husband Greg. Rose makes an effort to resume her work and continue. Holly calls Rose to apologize for their dispute, and Holly requests that Rose at least buy Jackson a birthday present. Rose appears to glimpse Laura in the distance as she peers out the window as they converse. Carl is shown in Carl's room when Rose enters, smiling uncomfortably like Laura and telling Rose again, "You're going to die." She makes a call for assistance, and orderlies detain Carl. Rose runs into an apparition of Laura while shopping for Jackson, who is still beaming. She is unable to locate Mustache at home and is terrified when the security alarm sounds. When the security firm calls, it turns out to be a nasty person. Rose attends Jackson's birthday celebration over the weekend. He snatches Rose's gift, which is intended to be a toy train, when it is time to distribute gifts. Instead, Mustache's body is discovered when Jackson opens the box. Rose tries to reassure everyone that she did not do this, but she notices that one of the other mothers seems to have the nasty grin of the thing. Rose trips and falls through a glass table, breaking both of her arms severely. Rose is taken to the hospital for treatment. After learning about her episode, Morgan goes to see her and advises her to take some time off work. Rose tries to explain herself when Trevor brings her home, but he believes she is crazy and that she actually killed Mustache. Rose frequently meets with Dr. Madeline Northcott, her personal therapist, who assisted her in overcoming the trauma of her mother's suicide. Rose starts her investigation. As she listens to the Laura session recording, she detects what appears to be a slight breathing sound. Additionally, she researches Laura's professor Gabriel Munoz and locates his widow Victoria. She reveals to Rose that just a few days after witnessing another woman called Anna Powell commit suicide, Gabriel claimed to have had visions of something haunting him. Victoria thinks Rose is making light of her sorrow when she says she is going through what Gabriel went through, so she tells her to leave. Joel is reluctant at first, but Rose insists that he assist her in her inquiry. When he checks up Anna Powell, he discovers that she was killed by gouging out her eyes. According to another rumor, Anna also witnessed a man kill himself. Security footage from a gas station shows the man with the eerie smile just before he impales himself in front of Anna. When Rose gets home, she discovers that Madeline has been phoned by Trevor to offer a house call session since they are worried about Rose's mental health. Rose yells at Trevor, telling him that he is more worried about how she will make him look, which causes her to storm out and end their relationship. Rose also visits Holly in an effort to make amends for the birthday, but Holly is unforgiving and accuses Rose of spiraling out of control, just as their mother did. Rose responds by claiming that Holly never made an effort to care for their mother and that she had to look after her till the very end. Holly appears to be walking back to Rose as Rose returns to the car. But it is just the end haunting her. Joel leads Rose to a prison where she meets Robert Talley, the only person who has managed to escape the curse. He explains to Rose that the entity spreads to new victims by latching onto the trauma of humans. Robert killed a victim in order to stop the entity from murdering him by stopping the victims who witnessed suicides from becoming the subsequent victims. Robert freaks out and believes Rose brought the thing with him, requiring him to be restrained when she informs him she cannot kill anyone. Rose visits Madeline at home on her own initiative and tries to speak with her. Since Madeline calls her for real a short while later, it turns out to be the thing in disguise. Rose's time is approaching. The thing grins at her while stating. Rose drives to her job with a knife out of a sense of helplessness. She enters the building and locates Carl's room, where she provokes him to panic. When Morgan rushes in, she discovers Rose viciously stabbing Carl. He yells and appears to be ripping off his face, but this is actually Rose's nightmare from when she dropped out in her car. When Morgan spots her, she gets in her car and drives off with the knife. Rose phones Joel and explains that in order to prevent the thing from infecting anybody else, she needs to isolate herself. She pulls up to the house where she grew up and lost her mother. The monster appears to Rose in the dark as a tall, long-haired, smiling hideous version of her mother. Rose expresses her rage at her mother for how she acted as a result of her illness and for not receiving the assistance she required. Until Rose lights it on fire and flees the house as it burns, the creature follows and teases her. She subsequently makes a claim that she has finally gotten rid of it while visiting Joel's flat. Joel then informs her that she will never be able to rid of it and he flashes a creepy smile. Rose was dreaming once more. She has not left the house yet. After locating her, the thing rips off its face and stretches Rose's jaw wide before entering her mouth. When Joel arrives and walks inside the house, he discovers Rose dousing herself in kerosene.